This is it, everybody. We're closing out the round of 8, and my God, man, tomorrow we're going to be back with the round of 4 in the finals. You know, usually when I say this is it for the round of 8, we still have weeks before we crown a champion here at the GSL. Not anymore, not right now. So, Reynor and GuMiho are going to be going at it. And look, if Reynor can beat Maru, one would assume Reynor can beat GuMiho. But GuMiho is a very, very different kind of Terran. He's very hard to prepare against. He's almost a bit of a fourth race, if you will. So this should be an interesting match.
Yeah, he's very crafty, very clever. I'm sure he's also going to have some tricks planned for Reynor, specifically coming in this one. Now, Reynor has looked really good today. I'm thinking back to the first game that we saw him versus Classic. He was on fire. Unfortunately, he lost that series 2-1, but you know, the matches that he also played against Maru, showcasing some really diverse builds in Game 2 and Game 3, a solid macro game in Game number 1. Reynor is just looking very good. He looks like he deserves to be in the round of 4, and here he is going up against GuMiho. One of these guys at the end of today is going to the round of 4, and one of them is going home. Who will it be? We are about to find out. Let's kick off the final best of 3 of the day.
And as a reminder, everybody, Reynor advancing here. This will be the first time there has been a non-Korean in the Final 4. I believe since Jinro.
Maybe Neve. I can't remember if it was a Super Tournament or a GSL Code S.
Oh, I'm not counting Super Tournament.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there was Super Tournament. You're right. But yeah, I mean, for the kind of these longer form tournaments, yeah. Look, the point is like we just never had this basically.
It's uncharted territory.
It's super rare, and when it was happening, it was in a very different era. You know, you go back to when Jinro did it. That was when there was just like a lot of foreigners here. That was before we even knew that StarCraft 2 would be big everywhere. I was part of the Korea experiment, as were you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the people that made the pilgrimage out here and thought this would work. You know, maybe in the English language, maybe there'd be some foreign fans. Now, you know, StarCraft 2 is actually much bigger outside Korea. Did not see that one coming. But still, you know, the legacy of this tournament has been one that has been dominated by Koreans. But I'll never forget when I didn't see actually, I casted Sarah winning BlizzCon. And I remember even kind of being in my head where I'm like, oh my God, it's happening, you know. Like basically not able to quite detach from the actual event itself. And, you know, I always thought it was going to happen in GSL sooner, but maybe it'll happen this time around. But if it does, it may very well happen with Reynor.
It's certainly possible. I remember when, you know, he first announced that he's going to be living in Korea for, you know, some amount of time and competing in GSL. This was, I want to say it was last year or the year before. It's all a little bit hazy to me when I try to think back. And a lot of people, myself included, were thinking that he might be one of these guys. I mean, he certainly has the potential. He's a world champion that can go to the round of 4 and beyond in the GSL. And unfortunately for Reynor, his story in the GSL up until this point has not been that. He's been struggling a lot in the early groups. He has said in interviews that he was getting inside his own head a little bit.
Yeah.
And I find it must be very relieving for him to finally have that monkey off his back and advance from the round of 12 into the round of 8. And now you could see him really showing why he is the player that he is. He is playing to his ability. He is unlocking his potential here in the GSL the same way that he would at any other tournament anywhere else in the world, and it is just so thrilling.
So, you know, one thing about Maru and the way he plays, he's not usually flashy early on. I know he had a period where he like double racks, triple racks all the time, but he doesn't do that as much anymore. But, you know, he's a bit of a kind of supercomputer Skynet Terran.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, you know, if it was a chess game, always an E4 opening or a queen pawn opening. But, you know, he basically builds himself into an unstoppable machine the longer the game goes on. And Reynor proved he can hang against that. He did that in Game 1. And then Reynor relied on some pretty crazy tactics in this one. In this game, we got the Overlord getting hit.
Yeah, this is a pretty cheeky play coming in from
and a bunker coming down.
I like this quite a lot. There was, I think, a safety roach for him. I don't believe Reynor was keyed in that this was happening until very recently. going down, and I imagine it's just going to be roaches that are going to be the way that he clears the path on this. But this is what we were talking about when we said that GuMiho just kind of plays to the beat of his own drum. Nobody really plays StarCraft 2 Terran exactly the way that he does. And look at this. We have a bunker rush at the third base that was unscattered until this Overlord flew in over here. That hatchery might be going down. These queens are already very low on HP. 5 roaches are in production. The queens, they basically are forced down here. This is going to potentially lead to an opening.
Nice
okay,
block.
no, he saw this coming. There's a spore door, Tasteless.
Oh, it's old spore door's back.
Yeah, blocking in the wall. So here we have the Hellions now coming in on the flank. Gonna be able to snipe at least one of those, and this is a lot of damage done. GuMiho confirming, yes, my Hellions cannot shimmy past that spore crawler.
It's not done yet. He's gonna try to come down and make it work. The Hellions are gonna come back over here. The hatchery is so low.
Hatchery's going down. Dude, GuMiho is so sick. Even those Hellions just catching one more queen. I mean, what a clever play coming in like this. So much damage being done. The worker counts behind this basically equalized because Reynor has to invest so much larva and so many minerals in getting the roaches on the board to just clean this up. Behind it, you know, GuMiho's macroing. He's going for the Banshee. He's adding in, I think, a third command center. And I don't know if we have additional barracks. We might even have mech. I mean, it's just factory units and starport units right now.
So, I was talking about how, Maru's kind of a supercomputer early. It's totally not what GuMiho is. GuMiho's going to do something weird and unique in almost every game. More builds than anybody else in the game, in my opinion. And that's exactly what we had back there. Beautiful bunker rush on the third. Is there some kind of a wind-up counterattack that Reynor can deliver here? I don't actually know. And honestly, like behind this is double eBay, it's third command center. An untouched GuMiho should be a wrecking ball as we get into the mid game here.
Yeah, it is not going to be mech. So I'm a little bit sad. Would have loved to see some Gumi mech today. Maybe we'll later on in the series, but yeah, double engineering bay, 2 more barracks being thrown down. And behind that pressure that he went for, there is a lot of greed. With the double eBay, the super fast third command center. And you can see that being reflected by the worker count, 48 to 48 right now. Reynor, I want to see that production tab. Okay, we just had another round of drones just finish up for him. He's building a lot of roaches, though. I'm curious where this is going with the roaches because I think that's also Overlord speed being researched. We have 5 queens. I mean, there is a world where Reynor's like, all right, I'll have a, yeah, there it is. The Overlord morphs in, and we have an Overseer, and he moves across the map with speed roaches and queens. I think this is Reynor getting ready to be pretty aggro, Tasteless.
Yeah.
Cool. I like this change.
I think he's got to. I was going to say, if he tries to play from behind, I don't like this at all. I think he has to come back and punch twice as hard.
The thing is, GuMiho is actually setting up pretty well defensively for this. Now, I think GuMiho's senses are going to be tingling a little bit, seeing these Overlords with speed, and now certainly, of course, seeing the roaches moving cross-map. GuMiho already has a bunker in front of the natural expansion. There is one siege tank there already. He's repairing the Banshees because he knows they're going to be fighting here against these queens. Oh, man, he's trying to focus down this Overlord. Another one's going to have to morph. This is really going to stymie the push.
Can he transfuse it? He should be able to transfuse it and push back.
I think you need creep, don't you?
Oh, of course. Yeah, what am I saying? Yeah.
I mean, maybe he could drop it from the Overlords, but yeah. No, one of them is going to be going down. That was, in fact, an Overseer, so now these queens just going to be slowly walking in. Stim for the Marines. Bunker is going to be going down. GuMiho, he has been able to buy himself a lot of time. Those Overlords now dropping the creep. Creep Timbers also being thrown down here. More Roaches and Ravagers, I assume, are in production. We're going to have to wait and see. There is a lot on the line with this attack, but...
Oh, God, the queens are kind of separated here.
Yeah, it's awkward.
And he needs to get this drop. Oh, my God, the drop over's going to get targeted. He gets all 3 queens out. He's going to target that Banshee and drive it back. The Banshee is what's going to let him hold the ground here for Terran.
Dude.
Not quite enough.
The micro from GuMiho, though, with the Banshees and the Vikings, just completely stopping the queens from gaining any ground. I mean, the queens are really kind of the linchpin that makes all of this work for Reynor because they can deflect the Banshees and secure the ground. Now it's like you have, like, in PvZ, you kind of don't see the same thing because of oracles, right? The Banshees serve the same role. There's this unit in the sky that deals a ton of DPS, focusing down roaches, focusing down ravagers. And without the queens, I mean, GuMiho, just props to him for identifying exactly what the situation is and microing precisely what he needed to do, because there are so many different ways you could try to get value out of your units with a control right there. And GuMiho's, you know what? It's the Viking focusing down the Overlords. It's the Banshees being just out of range of the Queens. I stop those Queens, I'm stable, and now we have a GuMiho who is safely on 3 bases with double eBay already at 1-1 going up against a Roach Ravager Reynor. Yes, the supplies are equal, but that's Roach Ravager, man. They're pretty inflated in the supply. GuMiho's army, there are so many tanks. I think this is 2 factory tank tasteless.
It must be.
Oh my, there's so many tanks, this is crazy. The Vials connect with 2 of them right there on the front line. They clean them up, but there is just too much left. GuMiho, I did not respect your game. What a push coming here into the 3rd base. I mean, talk about a pendulum swing from Reynor going on to the aggression to this counterattack from GuMiho. That hatchery, it is so low on HP tasteless. The reinforcements now coming in. Piles somehow actually killing a medevac. But the army supply is really just telling this story right now. Reynor, he's trying to converge these forces. All these reinforcements now coming in. Missile attacks is done, so these Roaches going to fare a little bit better, but I think there just isn't enough firepower left in the Zerg force. These Roaches, they're trickling in very slowly. GG is called, and GuMiho, I mean, a very crafty build. Beautiful micro to deal with that attack, and then just the perfect counter. And I wonder when that second factory got added, I was so keyed in to what Reynor was doing that I wasn't watching GuMiho develop, but of course, it's GuMiho. He's going to do something different. He's not going for 8 racks. He's going to add a second factory and push you with, like, what, 6 tanks, 7 tanks? Something crazy so early in the game. That was awesome, and this is why everybody is afraid of GuMiho, is you never know what you're going to get in a series. Like, a series against him, it's just a Pandora's box of potential builds. And for Reynor now, I mean, you've shown that you have a wide array of what you can do against Maru, against GuMiho with these aggressive plays, but it's match point. This is a best of 3. Reynor needs 2 map wins in a row, and GuMiho can throw any kind of curveball he wants, and he will be going into the round of 4. Everything is on the line right now for Reynor.
Persephone is going to be our map. Reynor needs to have a clean opening to have a strong mid and late game. Either that or he has to get aggressive and start to pull out his own tricks before GuMiho can even get started. Let's see what goes down. Okay, Zerg in the bottom left, GuMiho in the top left here. This is the map with the little healing zones on it. I don't know if it's going to be a big factor or not. I feel like we talk about it and then it never really comes up, but put it out there again, I guess.
Yeah, plus the speed zones. We have seen that be pretty impactful.
Speed zones, actually, yeah, have played a larger role.
With stimmed bio, it's kind of crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, all you got to do is boost a medevac through that, and you can travel back in time. The
gas first, by the way, for GuMiho.
Yeah.
I wonder where he's going to go with this. Winner of this series, by the way, I think will, if my bracket building is right, I think we'll advance to play Hero. Currently, we have 2 Protoss players, Hero and Classic, 1 Terran player, Cure, and no Zergs at the round of 4. So Reynor really the last Zerg fighting for his life in GSL right now.
So, you know, Reynor's going to be hyper vigilant for any weirdness, but super fast gas is kind of hard to ferret out. You know, it's hard to identify immediately. You know, that last little bunker rush we had, that's kind of like a tournament one-off, so to speak. Like, that's like one of these builds you pull out once, and it's like you only have one of those cards in the deck. in the tournament deck, by the way, I'm not talking about it in the best of 3 deck. I mean, like, you know, in a long-form tournament where everybody's kind of spying on each other and studying each other, that's a great one-off. But
that's a great way to describe it.
Yeah, but how will GuMiho play this time around? You know, Reynor, by the way, I think also we saw a little bit of that in the 2 games, one that he lost and one that he won. Like, that 6-sling attack in there, he's not going to be doing that in other games. I don't know if he's going to necessarily have to or not. I can't remember who plays Cure. Is it second or first?
I believe Cure is against Classic. I think that is already set in Hero versus the winner of this series.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
I might be doing the same thing. Anyways, You know, some of the stuff that Reynor tried, like especially that drop that he did against Maru in the last game, that's kind of like an emergency break glass build order.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have anything else right now, but I will use this, and I will take this day by day, this tournament.
It's something that we see very rarely, and I feel like usually it's like a map-specific thing that you would do on a map that has a very close air distance. And so it's even more unexpected on a more standard map like we saw against Maru for, I can't remember the name of the map, but the fact that it just has kind of a standard base layout and you still go for that kind of push with the drop overlords was just some next level thinking there from Reynor. And I do wonder if we're going to have some kind of tricks from him like that again in this series. I do know that Reynor has done a lot of prep for this GSL. And GuMiho behind this gas first opening, going into a really fast armory. I don't think we have a second factory. We do have more Hellions in production. With GuMiho, you never really know what he's going to do until he starts doing it. I mean, like, mech literally could be on the table here. We could even have some kind of, like, double factory go down and some battle mech thing comes out here from Gumi. It's just... I've given up. I gave up a long time ago trying to predict what this guy's going to do in any matchup.
Well, he's going to come down here and try to poke it and do some damage. We've seen GuMiho do some stuff like this before. He's
that Reaper push. All right.
Yeah. Well, this is kind of funny. I guess when you see the armor, you're supposed to know, but in my head, I feel like this doesn't ever work. But let's see what this actually does.
I mean, there's enough queens here that...
every time I watch these attacks happen, I just see queens able to outmaneuver the Hellbats, and I'm always confused why people do this.
I feel like it works when there's something to complement the Hellbats. It works really well because they're more tanky.
Like Marines or something.
Yeah, just some other unit.
Yeah, you know, that's what I think. I kind of look at that and I go, well, I don't...
There we go.
I guess there's a healing zone.
Uh-huh.
Whew.
Those Hellions
we finally
don't
got to point it out. I'm so glad I brought it up this cast. Every time I talk about it, I'm like, it doesn't matter. He's going to try to attack it again. This is also one of those things where I feel like you see it once and you kind of... It'll be less effective every time it comes in. Maybe I'm wrong.
Oh, another factory in production, Tasteless. I think that's this. Yeah. Oh, 2 more factories.
He's going for mech.
I love it.
Now, he tends to go for more battle mech stuff.
Oh, and it's getting scouted, too. Okay, GuMiho, now after you kill the Overlord, cancel it and throw down double eBay.
Yeah. Go with the real mind games.
It's going to be 2 more factories coming in. Is this just going to be straight up battle mech? Where are you going with this, GuMiho? So we do have more Banshees in production. Actually, I should say Banshee production is starting up here for GuMiho. I think we still have more Hellions being queued. I really just want to key in, hone in on that production tab. 3 factories. All right. Let's do this. 3rd command center, too. So this is going to be any kind of like super gimmicky play. This is some real proper development from GuMiho. Like, he's only a couple of workers behind Reynor. That 3rd command center is going to be getting planted at that expansion very quickly.
For the time being, Reynor's going to continue to grow out on the map. He is getting plenty of drones. This, you know, when you go for mech like this, the factories, they kick in a little bit later, so things get started a little bit later. I don't think that the Reaper Hellion's going to do a whole lot more. And I think we can all agree that Hellbat initiation didn't do anything at all. So, I feel like Reynor is going to have a very comfortable game. The 5th base on this map is where you go to, like, this might not make sense, but if you look at the minimap, like, that's in layer 2 if you go from the bottom up. Any 5th base, assuming the Zerg took the very far bottom right, that's like a little bit closer to the Terran. And that'll be the new target to attack most likely.
4 Cyclones in production, plus 2 armor plating.
So he's going to go for that battle mech style, that very mobile, very fluid army that, can be annoying. I mean, you think being kited by Marines with stim is annoying. When you get Cyclones, especially if the Zerg only has big, fat targets, it gets really, really hard to fight.
Yeah.
And this is going to be roach play. I mean, he's getting, missile attack here. This is a clear investment in that style. I would say that it's never obvious if you see Hellbats at the start that it has to be mech, but I think it's more likely to be mech if you see GuMiho do it, because GuMiho just sort of likes, he'll GuMiho will always create in a best of 5 or a best of 3 a game where he gets to play like this. It's almost like it's in his album. Like, this is one of the songs he plays.
I'm GuMiho. Anyway,
yeah,
here's Wonderwall.
Yeah,
It's just another mech
he's
game.
like, this isn't one of my greatest hits, but in my opinion, it's my magnus opus. I never understood why the fans didn't like this one the best.
Yeah, so this is going to be +2 armor battle mech with a Raven. I'm assuming just for, oh, that Banshee is going to be, oh, I'm actually shocked that thing survived.
Yeah,
he has an armor shredding missile. Yeah, but this is a lot of roaches coming out. Now the Cyclones are going to be able to lock on and kite away. I believe, I think it's called Magfield Accelerator. I'm always so bad at the Terran upgrade names.
Yeah,
just got
I'm
research.
guilty of this too. There's certain upgrades. I'm like, I never learned that. I just know what it does.
It's the one that increases the damage when they lock on. Yeah, that just got finished. Blue Flame is now being researched by GuMiho as well. He's continuing to expand with this. Oftentimes when we see this kind of battle mech style, it's usually like a super gimmicky, almost 2-base play where you're basically all in. If you build a third command center, you're not really planning on saturating it. It's almost like a red herring where you want the Zerg to think you're macroing out, but really you're just trying to commit to this attack. Whereas GuMiho is doing this in a way where it's like going to be his main army camp composition for the foreseeable future. He's starting +3 plating. We have swarm hosts from Reynor. Actually missed this on the production tab. 11 swarm hosts were made.
I completely missed this. I'm like, what?
Wait, this unit's in the game?
So there's a Nidus that's going to come into play here. He might try to throw that into the main. Sometimes with swarm hosts out here like this, you kind of force this position of trying to defend and negate snowballing the damage, and then the Nidus pops in the main. And like, Battle Mech is mobile because, you know, Cyclones are fast, obviously, but not like Medevac Marine, where you pick up, you drop, you pick up, and you drop. You can kind of relocate. I mean, in some ways, Terran is like the most mobile thing ever. This might have been too cavalier where he placed it. I think that's going to deny it. I wish the Observer would confirm that.
Yeah, there was a Banshee on it, so I think it's almost certainly going to get shut down.
Oh, I didn't see the Banshee. Okay, I just saw the SCVs pulled. So that means it's not going to work. So good denial there. The second Nidus is going to come up here.
Yeah, this one targeting the 4th base here for GuMiho. Just more Cyclones in production, and I mean, +3 armor plays to be done so quick. It's going to be like almost the 11-minute mark. Kind of insane. All right, Swarm Host popping here from the Nidus all the way at the top right. Now they're going to force GuMiho's army over here to the 1 o'clock position, and that's going to give this opening here for Reynor to just attack and unseat this expansion. And even though he only killed 4 SCVs, anything you can do to just disrupt the mining of the Terran opponent, where the resource that you're using is mobility, is going to be a win here for Reynor. You can see he's already far eclipsing GuMiho in the economic department. Despite only having a small worker lead, he's got like triple the bank in total. I feel like for Reynor here, a big part of his MO is just going to be trying to stop GuMiho from taking a 5th base, to just not really let mech get too far out of control. But I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't really see max +3 armor plating battle mech like this. I don't know what to expect with these fights, Tasteless.
Yeah.
Bailing's now coming in. Oh, armor shredding missile actually connecting with a lot of the Terran units there. The Bailing's got pretty good connections overall. GuMiho's supply is going to dip down to that 180. Swarmos now converging with the Roaches and the Lings. And I feel like this trade has been really good for Reynor so far. I know that the Cyclones are getting value with a kind of move and shoot, but the Bailing connections were good. The Swarm Host got some pretty good damage done. GuMiho still has enough to push in, but a ton of Lings just finished. Adrenal's almost done. There is a real threat here for GuMiho, where Reynor comes in on the top side because there's very few Hellions, very few Hellbats left on the field since those Bailings had those connections. If Reynor can completely surround this Battle Mech army, I feel like he basically just decapitates the dragon and GuMiho's dead. This army cannot be replaced easily. GuMiho has very little gas in the bank.
We even saw a lot of that supply plummet pretty fast. He had enough factories he could remake it. Oh!
Here's a surround!
Here we go!
+3 armor plating is going to allow a lot more sustain on this, but the Lings, basically their main job there is to body block. But I mean, you see the damage difference. +1 melee versus +3 armor plating. That was not the big win that Reynor was expecting it to be, because the upgrades are so huge here for Terran.
Knight is going to come down here again. Terran's still functioning very nicely on 4 bases while Zerg's on 5. No fresh bases in sight. You know, we're at the phase now where Zerg is, actually I guess they both have so much supply and gas, they can kind of remake anything they want. We had the greater Spire being made, so I assume Broodlings are going to be a factor here.
I mean, Reynor, I think he has so much money, he's just unlocking all of these options,
that
right?
could be it as well, right? You just try to get all the tech in the game and try to make it work in whatever way you can. Forcing cancels on these Banes. I thought perhaps the Swarm hosts were going to go into the Nidus and maybe try to shell the main with Locusts.
I feel like it's just all hands on deck right now in the defense because Reynor recognizes if he lets GuMiho get too much valor from this game could spiral out of control, and the creep spread's been so well controlled. This is so many Cyclones. Reynor's gonna be hard pressed to defend this. Bailing's coming in on both sides right now. Pretty good connections, but you're gonna see that the armor is making such a big difference in these engages. I mean, the Cyclones are getting hit by Lings and by Bailings, and they just aren't dying. The hatchery is going to fall right now. Reynor, I want to see the units tab. I think he's strapped for Larva. Yeah, only 3 Larva. He cannot spend his money, Tasteless.
Yeah, this is really bad. You know, it's funny because it was a trade on both sides, with the hatchery going down, the new command center up here at the top right. The Cyclones returning here to heal up.
Dude, this is comical how fast they are through these speed zones. You thought the Cyclone microing against the Cyclones off creep was bad enough. How about this alleyway where they move twice as fast? I feel like you maybe need like fungal or something here as Reynor to try and just stop the micro. I mean, this is just crazy. The problem for Reynor is also he wants to have a lot of Lings, just not even to really connect and dish out melee damage, but just to stop the Cyclones from being able to kite infinitely against the Roach Ravager. But the problem is it's so larva intensive, and he has been reset down to 4 hatcheries. GuMiho's on 5 bases. Right now he's taking a 6th. He's got a fusion core. He's getting +2 vehicle weapons. Things are just developing so rapidly in GuMiho's favor. And GuMiho, he doesn't need to go for a killing blow at this point. He can just try and stop Reynor from taking a 5th base. Reynor has to expand towards the Terran opponent, and there is literally no creep spread.
Yeah, I think if GuMiho can maintain the status quo right now, he's going to win this game.
I don't see how Reynor breaks out. Like, you need fungals, you need like the Lings to get us around, and even then, 22 Cyclones and what, 14 Hellions on the ground? I mean, it feels like the kind of game that only GuMiho can do, right? But it just is so hard to stop at this stage.
If Reynor can't stop this now, GuMiho's going to have everything on his side of the map, and it's going to be so easy to close out.
Okay, chain fungals on the Cyclones, Broodlords and Broodlings connecting really well on that. That was the win that Reynor needed. This is the first time in a while that he's actually been able to take a supply lead over GuMiho, and I feel like behind all this, yeah, this counterattack is fantastic, but Reynor needs to take additional bases. He does have a gas bank right now, but I think part of this is also Reynor doing the calculus of what units do I make, because I can only recharge really once more back to max, and then my economy, you know, I don't have a lot left in the tank. What is the perfect composition of units to try and deal with what GuMiho's throwing at me?
Now, you know, he did get in there with the Lings and do some damage. Reynor does have a decent amount banked. GuMiho, you know, he's got enough bases that his income is spiking up again. We got the Locusts coming in here into the main. You know, it feels like these Swarm hosts never were able to do, you know what they would have ideally been able to get done here. He's actually going to go for, I think, for the starboard here. He's trying to eliminate this, at least force a cancel.
I feel like the battle cruisers could be a real wrench in like the cogs here for Reynor, because right now he's still kind of struggling to stop the problem on the ground. And should that get complicated by, you know, GuMiho going to a lower worker count and mixing in battle cruisers, things could very quickly get out of hand, because even engagements like this are so tough for Reynor. Because of the lack of creep spread, because you need basically to chain fungals on those units to actually get the damage done. It's only 4 broods, it's only 5 infestors. But Reynor, I mean, it harkens back to the series he played earlier against Maru, where he was in basically an impossible situation, but was able to alleviate the pressure with just relentless counterattacks. It's one of the things that he does better than maybe any other Zerg in the world. And he has been able to buy space. He's trying to retake this expansion. GuMiho, you see on the minimap, instantly scans it. We have battle cruisers now just teleporting, I think, on top of this hatchery. Oh, just on top of the army, straight up. But the Biles! I mean, Reynor with an excellent response there. But I think GuMiho, he recognizes the infestors are the threat. He Yamato's them. He focus fires them down with the battle cruisers as well. He doesn't want the main army to get fungled, so that's going to allow him to kite basically to his heart's content.
He's going to try to push it now. There's so much over here right now for GuMiho. Maxed out. The Broodlings are coming down. They're getting in the way. They're keeping those Cyclones back. They're low in number. The Broodlords are. I don't know that Reynor can clean this up. He has to take care of this because he's going to be back on 4 bases, soon to be on 3 if he can't stop this now.
I think GuMiho is just about to break the back of Raider's economy. Even this 4th base barely has any mining. It's halfway. It's halfway run out on the minerals, and it's going to go down.
Wow, GG.
GG. GuMiho is going to advance to the round of 4. Reynor, he was so close to those playoffs, but in the very end, I mean, the nine-tailed fox, GuMiho, just free with all of his tricks.
I mean, look, I got to say, GuMiho came with a plan. The bunker rush at the start of game 1 allowed him to get into an easy position to close it out. And then in game 2, I mean, it was, you know, what flavor of ice cream? The GuMiho one. This was just like a type of game that I don't know if you could have practiced with any other Terran in the world and mapped out what you're supposed to do. I don't know if we're going to see it again in a while. GuMiho has so many different builds. We're going to be hopping into an interview now and seeing how GuMiho is feeling. He is the final player to move into that Final 4 spot.
All right, we're going to have an interview with GuMiho, who made it to round of 4. Congratulations. Thank you. So how do you feel advancing to the round of 4, GuMiho? Well, today, you know, I thought it was like do or die situation for me. And like Hero wished, I did finally pull through and make it to the round of 4. Well, thank God that you did advance, GuMiho, in the end. In the first match, Maru played this off-race, Protoss. So what went through your mind back then? So I was thinking, like, is he actually going to do it? And he did. And this happened to me before as well, against Clam. So I wasn't too, you know, I wasn't too startled, I wasn't too surprised. And, you know, as long as I did shake him a little bit in the early game, I knew I had a chance. So in the first game, you know, the bunkering and the triple, was that ready? You know, I checked it with the SCV, I was able to check it earlier on. And then I knew that as long as I was able to build a bunker in time, I could defend it properly. And moving on to the second game, it feels like you had a little bit of problem with the optimization. Yeah, I should have done a better job. I couldn't. And I think there was a big mistake on my end. And you know, I was thinking of various things at a time, and then I really did miss out on the optimization. Thankfully, the opponent was playing a bit more passively, which gave me some leeway to reverse sweep. So you have to take down Hero, right, in the next round. So you got to be confident against him. You know, had I more time, I probably would have liked it more. But I think, you know, at the end of the day, I just got to focus. I just got to put my mind to it in the next round. And you know, Hero did wish some. He did send some good messages towards your way. What about you? Do you want to say anything to Hero? You know, I just want to say one thing to Hero. Go easy on me, bro. Alright, so any message to the global GuMiho fans? And as I said, I thought it was going to be either first place or elimination, but luckily I was able to move on to second place. So I am delighted, I'm very happy. And I know my next opponent is going to be really tough, and I don't have much time to prep, but I'll try my best. Well, congratulations, GuMiho. Thank you.
What a treat. Great day of games today. Too bad Reynor got knocked out, but hey, Season 2 is just around the corner, right?
Yeah, and I feel like that now that he's finally been able to break through into the round of 8, I mean, Reynor looked fantastic today. I know that he lost there in the final match, but I don't think his story is done here in GSL. I would be surprised if he didn't qualify for the next season. I'd be even more surprised if he didn't have a good performance going into something like the round of 8. I think he's really got what it takes, but as it is, the semifinal bracket has been set. Hero versus GuMiho, going to be match number 1. Classic versus Cure, 2 TVPs.
Yeah.
We might have our first Protoss champion in a while. This is the best case, I mean, not best case scenario. I mean, it is if you're a Protoss fan, but it's the closest that we've gotten. I mean, there have been GSLs in the past where we have like 3-4 Terrans in the top 4, or none of them at Terrans and Zergs. In this case, I mean, Hero and Classic both looking really strong so far in this tournament. Everyone's talking about how scared they are of them. It's going to be a very fun day of StarCraft 2. I cannot wait to get started.
I'm so excited. It's going to be right here in the usual GSL studio, the classic GSL studio. This is at Samsung Station. Exit 1 goes straight a ways. You'll see on the map here where it is. All tickets are sold out. If somebody cancels, you would be able to get in. I don't know if that's how you want to spend your evening, is showing up here and then
yeah, I wouldn't.
You're probably not going to get in.
Yeah, I wouldn't hedge my bets on that.
I wouldn't hedge your bets on it, but you are welcome to try. We are across the street from the fire station, so we are capped on how many people can get into this building.
Yeah, and man, we are really speeding through this GSL season. It's hard to believe that tomorrow we're going to be doing the round of 4 and the finals. It is.
Yeah,
it is crazy.
It's quite a marathon of a day to have the final 4 and then the finals there. But it's a lot of great games. It's going to be really cool. We're either going to get a PVT or a mirror matchup, PvP or a TVT, excuse me. Wouldn't actually mind a PvP.
Yeah, it would be fun, I think.
Just for a little bit of change.
Just really light a fire under Reddit.
Yeah.
Just really get them going.
Yeah. No, we knew it. We knew it was unfair. What else can we say? It starts at the same time as normal.
Yeah, 6:30 p.m. KST. And I think it's going to be really fun.
That's all the time we have, guys. We'll see you tomorrow. We love you. Bye-bye.